This is the Hidden Killers Podcast with Tony Bruschi and continuing coverage of the case against Bryan Kohberger.
Good afternoon. Coming to you with breaking news this afternoon. Bryan Kohberger has reportedly accepted a plea deal, agreeing to plead guilty to the brutal murders of 4 University of Idaho students to avoid the death penalty. Here's a breakdown of the key components and implications of this dramatic development. He is agreeing to plead guilty to all 4 first-degree murder counts. Kohberger will admit responsibility for killing Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Madison Mogen, and Kaylee Gonzalez during the November 13th, 2022 home invasion. That according to the Associated Press. Life sentence and no parole is what he is looking at. The deal stipulates 4 consecutive life terms without the possibility of release. Kohberger must agree not to appeal the convictions, as well as standard condition to provide finality to this case that has rocked Idaho and those families now for almost 3 years. Let that sink in for just 1 second. This monster knew damn well for 3 years that he killed those people and left their families to sit and suffer and ask questions while he and Ann Taylor threw random stuff against the wall to see if he could outsmart the system. And truly the system outsmarted him and anyone who was pro-Kohberger. Prosecutors were previously seeking capital punishment. The plea removes that option from the table, meaning Kohberger will live. He will be imprisoned for the rest of his life. But the government will not take his life. The jury selection was to begin August 4th of 2025, and opening statements were stated for mid-August. With the trial looming, the plea abruptly shifts this case to a finale. How have the families been reacting? Well, like I said, this is breaking news. It has happened within the last hour of us posting this. Early reports beyond furious. Thriving on emotion, the families of victim Kaylee Gonzalez reportedly explicitly criticized the state for agreeing to the deal, stating they feel betrayed and shocked. That according to The Sun. Apparently, there's a lack of consultation as well. Early reports suggest victim families were not fully involved in the plea decision, fueling feelings of abandonment on this. The judge is to hold a final hearing. A court session is scheduled for July 2nd or similar. Right now, it is up in the air to allow formal review and final judicial approval. The case is now closed, barring any sort of rejection, unless a judge intervenes. This resolution replaces the August trial entirely and seals the case. It avoids a costly, traumatic trial. The plea spares the community and victims' families and the court system from a long, emotionally draining trial. It's a rare pivot here from our cases that we've seen of this nature. We're a pivot from our defense against speculation and platforming alternative theories to essentially closing the record at this point. So again, the breaking news, Bryan Kohberger taking a plea deal, agreeing to plead guilty, admitting to killing the 4 college students in Idaho in exchange for his life being spared and life in prison. We will continue to break this down. We will continue to dig deeper into this and have many discussions with many people over the coming days on this breaking news, probably one of the biggest stories that, of the year, quite honestly. We do have interviews, honestly, that we put together for you discussing some of the case, and they will be coming out through our feed over the coming days. Just talked with Jennifer Coffendaffer actually this morning about the case and the proposed witnesses that they were calling, and was pretty down to desperation. We were talking about him calling his high school counselor, a boxing coach. It was down to no one. It was pure desperation to try and save his life at this point. And now none of those people are going to need to be called. And I think most importantly, something to look at here is those roommates are not going to have to go on the stand. The surviving roommates are going to be able to avoid that sort of hellish trauma, because we all know where this was going. There was already a group of vicious, rabid, unhuman pro-Kohberger folks out there who I hope just got a nice big pill of reality. Your boy did it, and he's admitting to it. So that would be the icing on the cake for those kids, for those young women, that they do not have to testify. For the family, not being able to have a trial, not being able to see and put him through the ringer, exposing everything that he did in a public platform. Well, at the end of the day, it shows just what a coward Bryan Kohberger is. What a disgrace he is to the human race. What a disgrace he is to his family. What a disgrace he is to anyone who has autism. The fact that he threw that out there as a possible excuse, a possible reason to not be judged harshly for what he has now admitted to do. Hopefully there's a broomstick waiting for him, the same way there was for Jeffrey Dahmer. And I will leave it at that. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section on this post of this extremely breaking story. We'll have a lot more for you very soon. My name is Tony Bruschi. Be sure to press subscribe and stay with us. We will keep you up to date on any further developments as they happen in this case.
Craving non-stop true crime updates? Press subscribe now and get the latest cases, analysis, and expert commentary delivered straight to your feed. Only from the Hidden Killers podcast and True Crime Today.